NITV.ie and Irish News Radio. Today is Friday, so we're having a look at the mess of the country. There's no point even talking about independence, sovereignty or anything that's well gone. We have lost our country, and I'm not even sure the Irish actually even care anymore. But we'll go through what's happening in other countries and here, and the homeless crisis, which is absolutely insane. So the RTE say there is needs to preparing for an increase of ethnic diversity in the inner city flats. Dublin to be made a further non-Irish. This is just so ridiculous. 27% on the council list are non-Irish. We're not even born here. 27. So that means the indigenous population are having to compete with the gold card victimhood of so-called refugees. 27%, absolutely ridiculous. Irish having to compete with non-Irish, and the race card that they use all the time, especially the preferred race by the Irish government and media, the Muslim race and the African race. The Irish indigenous are being told that they might as well leave or die in the streets. They don't really care what happens to the Irish. They go on to say white communities. Ireland is for the Irish. I mean, isn't that a racist thing to say in itself? The white communities, as if Ireland it doesn't have an ethnicity of its own belonging to this country. That the native Irish people have no right. They're not even called like Irish anymore. The white race. Absolutely sick. I don't like insane comments. Really, the government and the media's hate for the indigenous Irish is on a crazy level. It really is. White communities. I mean, imagine going to the Japanese and saying the yellow communities will have to get used to all the whites moving in here. Like, it's the Japanese. Like, this is just crazy. No other country would do this. It's absolutely allowing a government to do this to its own people and calling them the white community as if there was other communities in Ireland. They are all white. The indigenous Irish are all white. There was a few mixed. Like if people go, oh, what about Finn Leonard? Yeah, Finn Leonard was a holiday baby who was brought up by Irish parents. Yes, he did have Brazilian blood. He never knew his father. He was Irish. But he did have Brazilian blood, and there's no point denying that that's what gave him the colour. Although, I mean, it would have been very hard to say, he didn't know anything about Brazil. He was purely Irish, but his ethnicity, his blood wasn't, but he himself was. But just to call them the white community is insane, because over majority of Irish, pure Irish, are obviously white. I mean, there is ones who were mixed, but they are mixed. It's not like black people or brown people or yellow people are actually Irish. They may have some Irish blood, but they're not. The majority of white are obviously Irish. This is ridiculous. And to call them white communities, like, it's just so wrong. As if, all the other white communities belong with the Irish. We're all one race. Ireland is an ethnicity that is Irish. It's, I've no problem with Polish or any of the other kind of Eastern Europeans or Central Europe, because they generally work and pay taxes, and they're not coming in here claiming bullshit asylum, and they don't get anything. They have to work their arses off and pay their taxes. They cause no trouble. But as for these so-called refugees and migrants, get benefits after benefits, 27% on the council list, and the budget going to the migrants, to house the migrants, not the native Irish. So the Irish taxpayers and the other ones who are here from Eastern European countries and Central European who are working here are all paying for these North Africans and Muslims who generally don't work and have loads of wives and generally don't do anything but are not even educated and don't even speak English. They just live in these centres and get all benefits and get houses, and the Irish people are left to die in the street. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really is. And they go on to say what the the Irish are saying. This is just so absolutely. They say the white communities. They call them the white communities, not the fucking Irish. They are Irish. This is ridiculous. The white communities say, we feel we've been here for generations. Seriously, they're having to defend why the Irish race have a right to their own homeland. Oh my God, this is just absolutely heartbreaking insanity that they have to explain that they've been here for generations. It's not even that you've been here for this is your blood, this is your homeland, this is where your ancestors fought and died so you could live here. Not the traitors of the fucking government and the media saying, oh, white communities. You're not white communities. This is your homeland. You belong here. You have every right. You should bloody be kicking out the fake Taoiseach and the fake president and take their bloody homes. This is ridiculous. Oh my God, that's so heartbreaking to hear us say that. To hear them say that is heartbreaking. Having to explain that is sick, sad. The replacement, and they're trying to argue why that they should be allowed to live in their own land. And their argument to this is obviously the immigrant council is that, the real problem is education and integration projects will help. What if they don't give a crap? 27% of non-Irish on council houses, Irish people, are paying for these so-called migrants to get their homes, and Irish are dying on the streets and having to argue we've been here for generations. It's just fucking shocking. The fake Taoiseach, which has no mandate, he should be just fucking taken out. Anyway, he goes off to piss off the British, as per usual. He just is spending his time trying to aggravate them, as if they'll turn around. You know what? Brexit was a bad idea. So his latest thing is seizing the British ships. He seized 2 British ships, and obviously the British are appalled. This is really going to help trade. Well done, Leo. You were such a fucking arsewipe for the EU. Why don't you just fuck off to Brussels? How is this going to help us? Seriously. He's seizing 2 British ships. And obviously the British are pissed off for travelling too close to the waters. Oh my God. Absolutely crazy fucking stuff. And the other fake leader in Canada is in crisis. He's in hot water as he's fighting for his political career following accusations of improperly interfering in a corruption trial. Calls for him to step down as a former Justice Minister Jody Wilson went on to say she was faced with inappropriate actions and threatened. Absolutely crazy stuff. So basically what's happening is that he tried to stop this trial that they were a corruption, a criminal activity. So he tried to stop them and put pressure on this lady, Jody, who at the time was the Minister of Justice, and threatened her. So now there's calls for a police investigation, veiled threats, and to find out what happened. Crazy stuff. So I would say that they will have to take him down. They'll have to take him out. His popularity has tanked. He's more interested in the liberal agenda than he has for running the country. And upholding law. He has proven that he cannot uphold the law and he cannot govern the country. He has lost the moral authority to govern and calls for a police investigation. So that's quite serious there. Yeah, hopefully he's a fake, same as the R1 and same as the French one. I think they all should be taken out and shot. Pretty scary stuff. The company that he tried to interfere and threaten the legal process of criminal activity, tried to stop them, was SNC. They're obviously, and what they were doing was facing criminal charges on bribing Libyan officials and looking for an agreement which would mean that the firm would avoid being fined. So they got caught, and he was involved trying to stop, because he's obviously one of their gold card victim hubs. Libya, Muslim, yeah, another liberals are just fucking idiots. So yeah, he went out and criminal activity for his liberal agenda. Unbelievable. In the UK, Parliament taking direct control from government to deliver on the no deal. So they're having this George Tusky. It's an important government to work on confidence and courage to walk away with a no deal. So Parliament has now taken direct control from the British government. So it looks like, I think it's going to be a no deal more and more. I've always thought it was going to be no deal. I never thought that this was going to happen. So this 277 mile to march to leave, the length of England, that want a no deal and want to be out. It's a 14-day rally from Sutherland to London, march to leave. So that's what's happening in the UK. Good news from Austria. Fantastic. I love Austria. They've turned the refugee centres. Oh, this is really, really good news for Friday. How crunchy it's Friday, Austria. Fantastic. We're all absolutely, in Ireland, have no country. Austria is looking good, along with Italy. Austria has turned the refugee centre into departure centres. Hallelujah. I love it. They will no longer be initial reception centres for refugees in Austria. Woohoo! They're getting rid of all of them. Fantastic. All the reception centres for refugees. They're getting rid of them all. The migrants will be given advice on how to return to their country that they came from. Wow! I love Austria. The move, the minister says, is to discourage people from applying for asylum in Austria. Fantastic. Well done, Austria, a country with a brain and a future. Unfortunately, unlike Ireland, we have no country for a future, particularly for the indigenous Irish. And there's no fight. Their homes are being given. Their money for their homes, people are paying, and they're not paying. The money is going into the council lists or for the non-Irish. The replacement project is well on its way in Ireland. It's such a scary, scary level. There will be no such thing as it is. They're not even calling it the Irish race anymore. The white population is what they're saying. It's scary, and it's scary for all the other Eastern Europeans and Central Europeans who have come to Ireland and made their home, because that's not what they want. They want the Muslims and they want the Africans, because they want to enslave Ireland. And this diversity program it's absolutely the opposite to diversity. They want the end to Ireland and everything that the Irish culture and race was about. Really, really scary. We are definitely living in the end of the times. I wouldn't be surprised if this government doesn't collapse soon, but the problem is they're all the same. They are all the same. Unless we have some light of hope, and I don't see any light of hope. There's some good individual candidates out there, but is it strong enough to actually form a party, a proper party, and take this government down? Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin, People for Proper, the Green Party, the whole lot, the Labour Party, are all corrupt liberal agendas to take down the Irish people, the real Irish people, the indigenous people, and take them out. And however they destroy them or kill them or get rid of them, that's their agenda. And it's working. It's in full-fledged. You will go into any town and it'll be unusual to see an Irish person. And eventually, 10 years, nobody will actually remember what Irish people were. What their voices were, what our sounds were like, what our language, what our culture, what our music, what our history. Nobody will actually be able to tell you, because we're living in the last days of it. And if it's not passed on to our children, there will be no Irish. It will be such a minority in our own country that suddenly when we become the minority, which we are becoming very quickly, the majority will have all these diversity schools, this, that. There will be no Irish spoken in English schools. It'll be harder. It'll be the majority of them, which will be Arabic speaking schools, and possibly even brought in German. And there's no going back. There's no hope. Austria got a brilliant leader in, and I can't see us getting that. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully there will be light shining in Ireland. After the abortion referendum, it really shocked me. Either how corrupt and rigged it was, or really, are the Irish that far left? They're actually really Nazism, and they don't understand what Nazism, because a lack of history. They didn't know. The majority of them don't know Nazi is National Socialism. They think that's just a name, because lack of education and understanding and awareness. It's very, very dangerous times. Self-hate is so big here. So sad. I don't know whether it can be saved. And I hope I'm wrong. But anyway, the good news for Friday is Austria is looking good, and that really cheered me up, because I've been down and sad about Ireland and its destruction and the government's hate and the media's hate for us. But looking at Austria and its love for its own people to go, you know what? We're putting our people first. Those refugee centres are turning into departure centres. What a fantastic name. Cheers me up every time I hear departure centres. Absolutely well done, Austria. Anyway, thank you for listening on The Bon Ree Show on ITV.ie and Irish News Radio. If you want to talk about anything, get in contact. Let's just talk, and let's keep it open. Let's talk about what's going on and the mess of Ireland. And fantastic to Austria. Well done. All right. Thank you again for listening on The Bon Ree Show. Have a good weekend.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.